ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Thursday, September 12th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is going to be 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got a busy night tonight coming up, of course, at 7:05. It's going to be the Charles Huff Show. We'll have the latest word from the head coach of the Thundering Herd, and that's coming up tonight with Steve Cotton. We'll have that for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, also on 93.7 The Dog. And then stay tuned right here. Stick around, because we got football for you coming up tonight. It is, believe it or not, a pretty big matchup between Miami and Buffalo, and that is coming up tonight. We'll have that for you. We go on the air immediately following the Coach Huff Show, 8 o'clock. And you can tune into that here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, or you can get things started a little earlier. We go on the air at 7:30 on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So a full night of football coming up, starting with the Coach Huff Show at 7:05, then Monday night football, Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Bengals football, just football. It all's right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So promo out of the way. Open text lines this hour. So the entire show, we're going to hear from you. And again, let me give you that number. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Open text line throughout the show. We got a lot to get into today. I need to start the show off, however, with some tragic news. I don't know if you've been following the story, but a very tragic shooting of West Virginia State linebacker, and I apologize for maybe the pronunciation of his name, Jylik Harrington, and it was very tragic that he was the victim of a home invasion. He was fatally shot during a home invasion in Charleston. Now, police are still investigating the incident. No suspect at this time has been identified. Jylik was 21 years old. And this was during a disturbance at an apartment in Charleston last night. He was a senior linebacker for West Virginia State. Had a promising career, had 8 tackles, including a sack in his last game against Barrington College. And, of course, University, those folks are obviously mourning right now, so we offer our condolences and our thoughts and prayers. Harrington, from all my understanding, was well liked. He was known for leadership both on and off the field. I mean, this guy organized a GoFundMe campaign during Christmas to help less fortunate families. That's pretty classy. That's the kind of guy that I want on my team. And there's also a memorial fund that was established with donations going to a charity in his hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. There's going to be a vigil tonight. The game, the home opener State had against Carson Newman, that was rescheduled to Friday. So there's going to be a private vigil planned that's coming up tonight. And Harrington actually previously attended Carson Newman. So nice gesture there. So very tragic today, and we keep them in our thoughts and our prayers. As we don't know the full extent of this and the details, but again, a fatal shooting during a home invasion. No suspect yet identified. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Again, 304-396-TALK. And I don't know how you bounce back right away from something like that, especially if you're the team. I mean, now the visual being planned tonight, that's going to help. And the game secondary at this point being rescheduled to tomorrow. And apparently, according to the investigation, there were multiple gunshots that were fired during a disturbance in the hallway and inside the apartment. And so you just have to take some time to process something like this. But when it's involving a young man, it's always tragic, and then it's amplified when it's a sporting connection there. Because this is a more visible person, but nonetheless, it's very tragic. So we offer our prayers and our condolences. When we continue, let's take a break. And then when we continue, there's some big news coming out. And it seems that conference realignment, it's never going away. It's just not. We're going to be playing multiple games of musical chairs for probably the foreseeable future. The Pac-12, it's not 12, but it's getting there. It's closer. Was the Pac-2. Now it's the Pac-6. Still the Pac-12, but there are going to be new members that are going to be joining the league and bringing it up to 6. Need a couple more to bring it up to 8, and that's where you need to be. And so the Pac-12 rebuilding, adding some schools out of the Mountain West, and those schools will join starting in 2026. What does that mean for college football and the landscape ahead? What's that mean for Marshall? What's that mean for the Sun Belt? We'll talk about it, and we'll hear from you. This is The Drive. I'm your host, Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, there is a place to shop at. The Huntington's Peddlers Mall is now open in the historic Central City District in Huntington. Over 200 vendors specializing in vintage antiques, home decor, furniture, collectibles, new mattresses, and everything in between. Peddlers Mall, located 800 14th Street West in Huntington. It's the place to go. Open 7 days a week. Visit anytime. Check out the website, peddlersmall.com, for more information. It's the Tri-State place to shop, Huntington's Peddlers Mall.
Are you tired of the blazing sun beating down on you while you drive? Well, say goodbye to heat and glare with ProTint, your Lumar Formula One tint installer. ProTint's premier window tinting not only keeps you cool and comfortable, but also protects your vehicle's interior from fading and cracking. ProTint guarantees a flawless installation every time. Choose ProTint for a sleek, stylish look, unbeatable UV protection, and customer service. Visit WV ProTint on Facebook today.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the Tri-State. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Smokin' Jay's Rib and Brew House, U.S. Route 60 at Camp Landing in Ashland. The Tri-State's best barbecue and ribeye. Boyd County Tourism and Convention Bureau. Visit, explore, enjoy. Boyd County, where art meets adventure. Griffith and File Drug in Canova, caring for the area's health for over 130 years. For all your prescription needs, come to Griffith and File.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
In the heart of everyday life, where engines roar and steel meets earth, the quiet heroes rise with the dawn. These are the builders, the fixers, the unsung masters of trades that forge the backbone of America. At Collins Career Technical Center, we offer 6 trades programs to launch you into a rewarding new career. With convenient scheduling and financial aid options, your path awaits. Discover how at collins-cc.edu. Get skilled, get hired, and get ahead. with Collins Career Technical Center.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The nicotine in e-cigarettes is addictive and can harm brain development. That's why I worry about teens who try e-cigarettes. Many young people use pod-based e-cigarettes like Juul, which have high levels of nicotine. And because teens' brains are still developing, they can quickly become addicted. The tobacco industry uses fruit and candy flavors to attract young people, often turning them into lifelong users. For more, visit healthychildren.org.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. And the Pac-12, it's back. Almost. It's halfway there. So I saw this last night. I knew we'd talk about it today. The Pac-12 is rebuilding and with some Mountain West additions. Now, I don't understand why the Pac-2, the two remaining schools, could have not come up with a better arrangement with the Mountain West. Maybe you just fold into the Mountain West, come up with some sort of arrangement. Nope. Pac-12 is deciding we're going to go alone and we're going to need some friends. So the Pac-12 adds Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, and Colorado State. All those schools are going to be joining in 2026. So right now it's still just the Pac-2. It's Washington State and Oregon State. So now you have 6 schools, one thing in common. They all have state in their name. So maybe that's going to be a branding issue here for the near future. Look, you got to have state in your name. You want to be in our league, you got to have state in the name. And so now the Pac-12 is trying to get up to that magic number. You got to have 8. You have to have a minimum of 8 schools to remain a football FBS conference. So if you want to be an FBS conference, you got to have 8 schools. So now you're closer. You got 6. So the question here is, which next 2 schools will be members that are being targeted right now? Do we have a list of schools being targeted? And will some of those schools come from other leagues? Some schools come from the American, maybe. Would there be a truly an eastward gaze? Would there possibly be a cherry pick here or there? Like North Texas, for example, up and coming program. A lot of pressure on them to be the next big thing. They've got the resources. They're in Texas. I mean, you got to be, if you're in Texas, unless you're Rice, you got to be good at football. It's a state law. And so where does the Pac-12 go next? And why wouldn't the schools that are left, and I know there's money involved, but why wouldn't Washington State and Oregon State just give it up and try to maybe just make it work in the Mountain West? Well, there's probably reasons why. First of all, the Pac-12 has got a tradition. Even though most of those schools are gone, the Pac-12 has a 108-year tradition. That's history. That's the brand. The brand's been around for longer than all of us have been alive. 108-year tradition. And so you're trying to rebuild that brand. You might not end up being a Power 5 school. You might lose that bid to be one of the autonomy schools, but you still have a lot to work with. The Pac-12, there's some branding value there. But there's also going to be financial impact here, and I'm sure the Pac-12 has got some money, because each Mountain West school is going to have to pay a $17 million exit fee to get out. And then the Pac-12 is going to have to pony up anywhere between $10 to $12 million per school due to a scheduling arrangement with the Mountain West. So there's a penalty right there. The Pac-12 got penalized, and then those other schools are going to have to deal with the scheduling hiccup because of the fact that it costs money. It absolutely costs money to play in college football these days. But what's the media rights going to look like? Is it going to be more attractive? Will the Pac-12 have a more attractive media package than what the Mountain West can offer? And for these schools that are leaving, could a Pac-12 rebranded be more attractive and bring in more revenue than the Mountain West? I mean, because the Mountain West is already going to be, they're going to get paid. But long term, what's the potential going to be there? And what's going to be more attractive for West teams? to try to find your way into the Mountain West, or would the new Pac-12 make more sense for you from a geographic standpoint, if that really matters anymore? Does that really matter? Probably not. But we don't know what the media rights are going to look like, what that could possibly be. The schools that maybe the Pac-12 will try to bring in. I mean, are there some schools out there that you would like to see if you're trying to build this conference back? I mean, do you go into the FCS ranks? Do you dip down a little bit? Do you grab a school from, say, Dakota, one of the Dakota schools? Do you go that route? What do you do as far as trying to bring in some brands that are actually going to make this work? And same thing for the Mountain West. Which league is going to have a little bit more of a ability to bring in brands? The Pac-12 is trying to expand. The Mountain West is now going to have to try to rebuild a little bit. And so the Pac-12 grabbed 4 really attractive West-based schools. Boise State has got some value. San Diego State's got value. Fresno State, Colorado State. And there could be some value here in the strategy. I don't know if what this conference looks like at the end is going to still make it the top of the group of whatever we're going to call this now, group of 5, group of 6, the non-autonomy leagues. Because probably the battle is going to be between the Mountain West and the Pac-12. Mountain West has got to fill some vacancies. The Pac-12 is trying to fill some vacancies and rebuild the brand. So what do you do in that situation? Well, you try to make a case. Well, it's going to be a better brand here. Well, you just lost some schools. And so maybe the Pac-12 looks a little bit more attractive. Whatever the case may be, the battle begins for expansion. So now, what does that mean for leagues like, let's just say Conference USA, which has been picked over to death? I mean, Liberty's not going anywhere. Liberty's absolutely not going anywhere. And would you cherry pick from Conference USA? I mean, let's look at Conference USA just objectively for a second. How many of those teams would you cherry pick? If you're looking westward, and I'm thinking westward here. I'm trying to look at this from a standpoint of, okay, which teams would actually make a little sense? And right off the bat, I'm thinking, if I'm trying to pick up a team, if I want to grab a team and I want to try to keep my conference a little bit more westward, would I look at UTEP and New Mexico State out of Conference USA? Would I look at those schools and think, all right, UTEP, New Mexico State, would it be a better argument for UTEP and New Mexico State to play schools in a reconstituted Pac-12, or would the Mountain West go after New Mexico State and UTEP? I mean, does it make sense for UTEP to travel all the way to Western Kentucky or to Middle Tennessee or to FIU? Would it make more sense for them to maybe start looking at, if they're targets? And, of course, you got to look at some schools in the American as well, because the name that always comes up right now is Memphis. Memphis is a hot thing. Remember, Memphis used to be Conference USA, and now they've kind of turned things around. So if you're looking at schools from the American Conference, and remember, the American's sort of like this a reboot of Conference USA, picking up Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, Rice, UAB, UTSA. I mean, Texas State, I'm going to throw them out there. Texas State. I mean, do you try to figure it out from a geographical standpoint, what makes sense for the league? And you look at the league and you go, okay, well, there's Memphis. Memphis would be a big deal. And I think you should look at Memphis. You should look at, I mean, would you look at Memphis and would you look at Tulane? Now, again, I don't know where the line is, but would you look at a school like North Texas? Would you look at a school like UTSA? Could the American fortify itself, or is it ripe for a takeover of some of its better brands now? So there are a lot of questions when it comes to this. And, of course, it all comes down to this. As an autonomy league, the Pac-12 is no longer an autonomy league. It's not going to regain its status. That has been trimmed by one, and the 4 that are left, probably not going to be a renegotiation here anytime soon to figure out what constitutes a power league. But the Pac-12 won't be it. From the text line, Paul, the Pac-12 has until 6/30/25 to figure out what they're going to do in order to have the teams for 2026. I think they wait and see how Stanford and Cal like all that travel in the ACC after the spring, and see what TV partners say when the deal looks like with Stanford and Cal back, to see if they can get close to money Stanford and Cal are getting in the ACC, because they're only a half share in the ACC. If Stanford and Cal say no, I expect Pac-12 to look into UTSA and Tulane. And I still think Memphis is in that mix as well. I appreciate the text. I don't know if Stanford and Cal are going back. It's because they want to put themselves in a situation where eventually they would be financially better. I actually like the Pac-12. I felt like the Pac-12 should have been the aggressor all along and maybe cherry pick a little bit of the Big 12 or maybe look at the Mountain West earlier. But I think the Pac-12 should have been the more aggressive league. But when lifelines were thrown out there and all the top brands were given opportunities to flee, and what was left behind, you had options here. Okay, do we just ban this thing? No, you take the money and then do something with it. And I think this is what we're doing. This is going to be interesting because I want to know what the domino effect is going to be for a league like the Sun Belt. That's the big question. What's the domino effect going to look like? Because right now, I like the Sun Belt. I'm happy. I'm happy with the way this Sun Belt is put together because it's close geographically. You have teams that are in, I think, really good travel groupings. Marshall, JMU, Old Dominion, Coastal Carolina, App State, Georgia Southern, all perfectly aligned. And then you have Troy, South Alabama, Southern Miss. Do you look at Arkansas State? I mean, again, it would go with the theme. Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State. Hey, let's just get Arkansas State. Let's get Texas State. So maybe you have to be a state to be in this thing. But maybe Texas State, you look at Texas State and possibly think that, okay, maybe that would be a good addition as well. But I'd also have to think for Texas State, it almost might be broad as it is long to stay in the Sun Belt compared to the travel. Travel is important. And I think that the problem here is if you're not in one of these bigger conferences, the travel expense is going to get you even more. And that's why I do like the Sun Belt. But there might be a domino effect because, again, with the Sun Belt might find itself being cherry-picked from the American because maybe the American gets cherry-picked from the Mountain West or from the Pac-12 because North Texas is sitting right there. There's Tulsa sitting right there. There's UTSA. I don't know if Tulane or Memphis would be willing to make that jump, but Memphis is going to be a go-to for a lot of people sitting in boardrooms going, which team, which school can we add? And I think the North Texases of the world and the Texas states possibly could be potential expansion targets. I'm thinking Mountain West because I don't think the Mountain West is just going to sit back. And we're not even talking about the schools and the FCS ranks. Do you elevate? Because it worked for Conference USA. Give Conference USA credit. It worked. They put this thing back together. Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up. This is The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavalette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes.
Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
No matter where you are in life, Mount West Community and Technical College isn't just about an education. It's a step toward your future. We provide the hands-on support you need with classes that fit your life. At Mount West, we know you by name because here, you're more than just a number. Mount West Community and Technical College, because you matter here. Visit mctc.edu to apply today.
Hey, it's Big John here. You looking for a smile transformation? 36 years of experience. Who has that? Thompson Orthodontics does, and they're going to offer personal orthodontic care, traditional braces. How about a flexible payment arrangement just for you? And they'll bill all insurance and West Virginia Medicaid. Experience the friendly, fun atmosphere and meet the amazing staff. My daughter Ruby had to have braces. That's where we went. She has a perfect smile, and I'm telling you, it's just a phone call away. Visit Thompson Orthodontics online at yoursmilingfaces.com today. Tell them Big John sent you.
Did you know that Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities provides top-notch services designed to support individuals with developmental disabilities to more than 500 Lawrence County residents? From helping children develop to their fullest potential to helping adults live in the community, Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities sees the ability in every disability. Learn more about Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities at lawrencecountydd.org.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Open text lines for this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up tonight, we've got the Coach Huff Show. It's going to be at 7:05 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And also, after that, we've got Thursday Night Football. Start of week 2 of fantasy football for all those of you who enjoy such things. And, of course, the game will be right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It's going to start at 8 o'clock for us. If you want to get started a little bit earlier, you can tune over to our sister station. That's Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340, and things will get underway about 7:30 tonight. So we got a busy night for you here. And, of course, we're still going to keep those text lines open for just a little bit longer. And again, that's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And, of course, a busy weekend for the NFL as well. We've got the Bengals and Chiefs coming up on Sunday. That's going to be a afternoon showcase game. Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. Joe with the 3-1 edge over Patrick, of course. Patrick's got the Super Bowl rings. Joe doesn't. Should be a fun one. Hopefully the Bengals can figure it out with Jamar Chase, and let's get that man paid, and let's get this thing going. Browns going to take on the Jaguars on Sunday as well, and then the Steelers will take on Denver. It's a busy night tonight leading into the next weekend of football. Of course, the Thundering Herd off. That's kind of why we're going to open the text lines up throughout the show. A week without Marshall football. We're only 2 games in, already missing it. I don't know if I like these early open weeks. If you want to do it mid-season, I'm okay with that. And you want to try to do the very best you can to kind of mitigate anything. Coach Huff was talking a lot about this week as far as taking care of players, making sure the health is a priority. Not that it hasn't been, but making sure you're doing even more just to make sure that these players are remaining healthy. And so you got an open week before Ohio State. I'd almost rather have the open week after Ohio State, maybe, before you get into conference play. Just not the way it was able to be arranged. Or maybe you have a game this week and then you have Ohio State next week. Then you have the open week going into conference play. I don't know if would rather have a week before conference play because those games mean a little bit more. Absolutely, you win this Ohio State game, it's going to mean a lot more. But end of the day, you want to win that conference championship. You got to get some of these signature games, though. And that's going to be the interesting part of how this plays out because with the playoffs, top group of 5 champion gets into the playoff, and that field's going to become a lot more crowded here soon, possibly, because now if the Pac-12 can find its next member, or 2, which actually it needs 2, you're going to have battling for those potential group of 6 spots now. Your MAC champion, your Conference USA champion, your Mountain West Conference champion, your American champion, your Sun Belt champion, and possibly your Pac-12 champion. That's 6 schools. Their champions are all battling for one spot, and you got to be the highest ranked of those schools. So if the MAC champion is higher ranked than the Sun Belt champion, and it's the highest ranked champion, it gets in, leaving all the other champions out. I would like to have seen a couple more spots, but the good news here is at least there is a spot now. Let's go to our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Paul, I believe Coach Huff plays Stone Earl all game again against Ohio State, and then someone else plays quarterback 1 versus Western Michigan and beyond. I'd love to see Cole's name announced to start a game or 2. Appreciate the text. That's a possibility. Actually, I think I would acknowledge that if Coach is not settled on the starter just yet, he might go with, okay, which quarterback gives us the best opportunity in this situation? Whose wheelhouse, to use his terms, is this game going to be? I'd like to see Braxton. I qualify that by saying I'm not at practice. I'm not in film study. I'm not there. Nobody's there but coaches and players. He knows what's happening. He knows what he's seeing out of his 3 quarterbacks. Coach's decision. We just talk about it. Back to our text line. Paul, I'd love to see. Hang on. Let me get this cleared up right. Okay. Paul, I would also have the bye after the Ohio State game because I think they will beat us like a drum. I hope I'm wrong. And go Herd. It's going to be your most physical game, I think, especially in your non-conference schedule. It's going to be your most physical game. I don't know how good Western Michigan is. We'll see. I think by the time we get to that Western Michigan game, we'll really have a little bit more of an understanding of who's got what. I think we're 2 games in for a lot of people. Still don't know. We've seen Marshall play a really good game against a team it's supposed to beat, and then we saw Marshall play a competitive but not good enough game against an opponent I thought Marshall had a chance in. Now Ohio State's another level. There are levels to this, and Ohio State definitely going to be a step up. If Marshall's competitive with Ohio State, then I feel good. If Marshall gets leveled by Ohio State, there's still the rest of the conference season to kind of fall back on. And to be fair, early on, you looked at the schedule, you thought, okay, this team's going to be 2-2 with losses against Virginia Tech and Ohio State and with wins against Stony Brook and Western Michigan. Now, if Marshall comes into this thing going into conference play 1-3, then we got questions. But 2-2, I think, is where a lot of fans sort of had this thing early on. And then you thought, well, maybe Virginia Tech's a little beatable. Well, yeah, they're beatable. Ohio State's going to be a tough challenge. You just don't go into the shoe and win very hard. More text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. It's been a while since we just opened it up fully without guests, just did the text line. Let's keep doing this. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on your next staining project right now at Menards. Pittsburgh's Ultra Advanced semi-transparent exterior stain and sealant in one can be applied on damp wood, allowing you to clean the surface and stain in one day. Save big on Ultra Advanced exterior stain and sealant. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, it's Lex and Terry, K&B Pest Control, locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state.
Man, these guys are great. They do residential and commercial, indoor, outdoor, free estimates. These guys are the best, I'm telling you.
This is when the critters come out. High customer ratings, satisfaction guaranteed, large fleet, crew, meaning same-day appointments, and quick service.
All you got to do is pick up your phone and call Patrick, the owner. Okay, that's what you got to do. Or Becca. They're standing by to take care of you guys. It's KNBPestControl.com online, and give them a call, man. They got a great Facebook page. Go ahead and like it. They got a phone number. We'll give you that. Why not? It's free. 304-523-4281.
Or go to KNBPestControl.com. They will tell you what everything looks like, what you're looking for, if you're getting a pest problem, and get on top of it. They're the best. Make sure you call Patrick once again, who is very passionate about his pest control, or Becca. K&B Pest Control. They'll kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams 4-day super sale and get 40% off paints and stains from September 13th through the 16th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Fall is the best time to plant trees. MonPower and Potomac Edison are here with tips to help you plant smart. Let shade trees lower your electric bills. Carefully positioned trees can reduce a home's energy consumption for heating and cooling by up to 25%. For more tree planting tips, visit FirstEnergyCorp.com. This message sponsored by First Energy, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and the station.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kitty Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
All right, let's get right back to it. 304-396-TALK is our text line. Texter says, Paul, we can't play pound and ground with the Buckeyes. Air offense, attack, and mix the run in special teams. Hopefully that is the case. The Thundering Herd can throw a little bit more on the offensive side in the air. We'd love to see the playbook open up a little bit more with the air raid. And again, I'm not going to expect the complete and total revamping of the offense in week 3, 4. It's a new system. Obviously, you have players that are returning. Obviously, you have new players that have not been with you before, so it's going to be a challenge every year. But once you get that base installed and you settle on a quarterback that can make it work for you, I think you're going to be okay. But, yeah, it's going to be a challenge for the Thundering Herd. I don't know. I don't know if you can ground and pound with the Buckeyes. They're a tough team. Appreciate the text. And, again, you can join us again, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. While we're speculating what the game's going to look like next week, we're talking about a little bit about the Pac-12 starting its rebuild, adding some schools out of the Mountain West, and where will their gaze go next while they're trying to figure out what will they be looking for. Will they be looking at different leagues? They're going to try to stay close to a Western-based conference. Geography doesn't matter in these things anymore. It's been thrown out the window. So where do they look? And then what happens? What's the domino effect going to be? If you're the Sun Belt Conference commissioner right now, if you are sitting in the office, you are sitting there thinking to yourself, all right, what do we do? Do you get all the schools on the phone and say, okay, here's what we're doing? Nobody go anywhere. Can you do that one? And I really think that the league is solid, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter what I think. But if you're Keith Gill right now, and you're trying to keep this thing together, and you're looking at this like, okay, we got something pretty good going on here. We've made some moves. We've made some intelligent moves. We've got a good collection of schools. The geography works. We're getting a lot of notoriety. People look at us and think, hey, you guys have got something going on here. The additions have worked. Women's basketball's improved for Marshall. There's some sports there. Soccer, we got some good things here. It's all about football, though. So when you look at the Sun Belt, does it make sense for the Sun Belt to maybe be the aggressor? If the American gets cherry-picked a little bit, and it's always the American, if the American gets cherry-picked a little bit, what say you if you're looking at this and a school like North Texas gets cherry-picked? Or maybe it's Conference USA. Conference USA gets cherry-picked a little bit. New Mexico State and UTEP. Or you look at the American and go, okay, you know what? North Texas and UTSA, those would be pretty good additions. And maybe we can talk Memphis into this thing. It's a stretch. It's a stretch a little bit. Maybe you can talk them into this. But then you look at this and go, okay, there's going to be some dominoes to fall. Where do you go? If you're Sun Belt? Do you start picking up teams? So if you're the Sun Belt, do you get on the phone and go, hey, ECU, you'd make perfect sense for the league. Come on in. This American thing's not going to last much longer. Come on in. Or if you're the Sun Belt, do you make some overtures toward Memphis even? Do you say, look, Memphis, if you get on board with this now, and we'll bring Tulane over, get ECU over here. If you're the Sun Belt, do you go aggressive? Do you go on offense first and not wait for other leagues to start maybe eyeing your schools and start making overtures? If you're the Sun Belt commissioner, Keith Gill, do you go, look, we got to keep this thing together. So how do we make this work? And then so do you go cherry picking? Do you say, hey, look, North Texas, come on over. You could play Texas State. UTSA, come on over. You could play Texas State. We got room for you. Leave Rice. Just leave Rice. Absolutely leave Rice. And, of course, that would strengthen your Western quadrant as well. But I don't know. I'm speculating. But that's the fun part of this. Because I'm thinking New Mexico State and UTEP are getting swallowed by somebody. If it's the Mountain West Conference, if it's the Pac-12, some of those Western schools are going to get picked off. And maybe you see schools that have basketball and not football components be added in to kind of strengthen your numbers. You have an odd number of basketball and football schools. It's happened before. But you look at this thing and this map, and which side of it do you want to be on? You want to be the side that's getting picked off, or do you want to be the side that's going after schools and trying to make the case? Or do you try to hold? Can you hold and say to your members, look, if we can just hold here, we can keep this thing together. we're going to be awfully ripe for a better deal. We're going to be ripe because we're going to keep this thing together. Maybe we can pick off one or two, but let's not go crazy here, but let's keep this thing together. Who could we target that brings value? I would say first one to Memphis wins. It would definitely add some value to the league. Now, of course, the American could be sitting here doing the same thing. Like, okay, if you're the American, and it gets all fun and games here, you're looking at us going, all right, there's JMU there. JMU might be really good to get into the American. Bring them in. And if you're looking at this thing realistically, are you looking at Old Dominion? Are you looking at Coastal Carolina? Is App State American material? Troy, maybe? I mean, again, I mentioned Texas State. I'm not overlooking Texas State here by any stretch of the imagination. So that's going to be the challenge here is which league moves first? Which league moves first? And which league is able to weather the storm? Because it's completely going to be shooken up once again. Back to our text line. Yeah, that wasn't a good game. Texter says, Paul, pounding ground, Cabell Midland versus Ironton? Ironton's good. Ironton's good. You can go back and watch that video on our website, our Kendra Digital Game of the Week. You can go back and watch that. Ironton's good, folks. Absolutely. And, of course, what do we talk about? The band, the football team, and the beef with the band. That's what we were talking about after this game. But Ironton's really good right now. I mean, it wasn't a good weekend for our area schools. At least the three that we carry in West Virginia. I'll limit it to that. Not a good week for Huntington High, Cabell Midland, Spring Valley. Hopefully there's going to be some bounce back there for all three of them. We'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Don't forget, coming up tonight, it's the Charles Huff Show, 7:05. Hear what the coach has to say as we look ahead to next week's game against Ohio State. And, of course, after that, Thursday night football. This one should be a good one tonight. Absolutely good one tonight because it's week 2, and already we got Miami and Buffalo. I think that's going to be a good game. You can listen to it right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.